Hey, there we are. All right. Um, Hello, everybody who is here. Thanks for coming by. You'll have to let me know how my sound levels are. Uh, Hopefully, the music is not overpowering. Um, Intention here is a friend recently did a stream involving world building and his D&D campaign, and I was humbled by the amount of work he'd put in. So it's time to get some of my own world out of my head and onto Google Drive. Any input would be greatly appreciated. Perfect. Thanks, Rhino. I've been looking at this page for several days now, trying to figure out where to start, and I hadn't really come up with anything. I pretty much just transferred what I had in Roll20 for the campaign I'd run before onto Google Drive. So some of it's rough notes, some of it's thrown together. Um, my campaign setting initially is very Celtic themed. It starts out on the island of Doran, um, excuse me, which was conquered within a lifetime anyway, um, by a foreign king, but they've since seen no visits from um, the royalty, so to speak, as the army left to conquer lands further. Um, Shoot, I don't even know how to begin to describe this, but Peyton Foley, legendary king, goes conquers a large portion of the world. Also, through diplomacy, unites a bunch of places. Calls it his United Lands. I have several nations in my world. There we are. Um, some of which are not fleshed out whatsoever. Most of which aren't fleshed out whatsoever. Just kind of a cultural background set for them, and I haven't delved too deeply. But the initial part of my campaign began in Doran. Um, it's more or less early Ireland, um, but it's a xenophobic, magic-free place as far as they can tell. There are reasons, but excuse me, they have their own gods. Gone with the prismatic pantheon, which I have no more than a sentence of description for each. And I really don't know what I want to start with here today. I really should have thought more about this and less about designing overlays, I guess. Let's just go back to overview and make some basic notes about Doran itself. Hopefully that's readable on stream. Looks like it's not too bad. Oh, the gods. The gods are complicated. Yeah, yeah, maybe some history. Excuse me. Um, the major portion of the story um, on the island revolves around the legend of the Blackwood. Um, Hello, Sitar. Um, Basically, when before people lived on the island of Doran, a piper had come from the mainland to learn the songs of its birds. And as he traveled, he gathered a flock of different birds as he played their songs. They followed him, um, and this giant flock of beautiful birds drew the attention of a fae, um, Fidelmid. There she is. Um, she lived in a forest of rainbow-colored trees, and she was the most beautiful of the Fae and all of that. She fell in love with the Piper and his music. But the god, Morgan, the blue god of the oceans and rivers, was jealous of the attention that this Fae paid on this mortal, um, and raised a giant wave to sweep her and her forest into the sea and take her by force. Another god um, couldn't see this beauty wiped from his land, Turla the Green. Um, and so he told Kerwin that if he were to chop off his fingers and plant them along the shore, he would raise them into mountains and protect the forest. Uh, Names. Kerwin did. He planted his fingers one by one, gave up his musical gift along the shore, and they were raised into mountains that still stand to this day. They're called Kerwin's fingers. Um, Along the shore, north shore of Doran, and of course the wave was stopped, and the uh, rainbow forest was not swept out. But because the Fae are mercurial in nature, she soon lost interest. Fidelmid soon lost interest in Kerwin. Couldn't play his music anymore. And so she kicked him out. Right? I agree, Rhino. Um, and so she lost interest in him, and Morgan, not Morgan, Turla, was so enraged that Kerwin's sacrifice was going unappreciated that he took all the colors from the trees and gave them to Kerwin before he left. Fidelmid had no music, she had no color, and she's since become a terrible legend, a horrifying fae that now haunts what they call the Blackwood. All of the trees are black. Um, and Kerwin's legend drifted off into wherever he went. No one really knows. But now, Doran has to contend with the Blackwood and its terrible inhabitants. So a lot of my initial story revolves around Fidelmid, the legend of Kerwin. There's trying to stop her, trying to reason with her, whatever the case may be. Visiting the Feywilds to find out more about the legend and Fidelmid. Gathering of artifacts from Kerwin, including like the colors from the trees themselves and Kerwin's pipes. Also following a little bit up into his lineage and what happened to him after. Um, so that's the major portion of the lore that I've come up with so far. The House Aiden is Kerwin's uh, lineage, I guess. But maybe we'll go to being conquered. I haven't gotten too much into it, but the idea is that King Peyton Foley is blessed by the Fae and all of that. There's a legend around him that I haven't put into Google Drive yet. Anyway, so he came over and forcefully took Doran 40 years ago. So I never considered keyboard tapping. So hopefully that's not too bad. I am absolutely muted. I'm going to have to do something about my mute button as I type. I don't usually do that when I game, so thanks for the heads up. Well, what's a good key for that? Go with that one. Perfect. Thanks again for the heads up. All right. So I'm just going to make some notes on the conquering of Doran. Oh, I missed those keys. So what we've got more or less is an island that was conquered 40 years ago. A man was put in charge, puppet regime sort of thing. He was granted lordship for his service, but um, another man, a druid, Dorel, was left to act as counselor. Um, well, since Patrick Quinn, the man who was given lordship, has died, and his son has taken over, Patrick Quinn II. Um, so the only one who was actually there for the invasion is this druid. He's an old man now and stubborn, but this is his home. He has a son. There's more to the story than what's going on Doran. There's succession rights and things like that going on with the king. Hence the name Setting Sun. There it is. Wondering if it was even on the screen. The Foleys, their sigil is the sun. Um, well, Peyton Foley is growing older. He's drawn in his forces. Um, so now everyone stands to pick this empire he's built clean, and it's kind of the players. They're caught up in the middle of it. But when Doran was initially taken, mostly uh, agriculture-based society, not terribly martial. I mean, there were fighters and there were heroes and things like that, but nothing terribly organized. So Why don't I write that down? I'm trying to separate my thoughts from the initial invasion to what's actually going on now. So that's tricky. It's a good question, Sitar. I actually wrote almost a book during NaNoWriMo 2 years ago. Um, I hit my goal and everything, yeah, good for me. Um, but I didn't know where the story was going from the point I got to. Um, so on a whim, I was setting up a D&D game one day with some friends, and I decided to use this world because I had so much of it in my head already to kind of build a campaign around, and with the hopes that uh, getting it outside of my own head and seeing where they took the story would help me break out of my own writer's block, so to speak. Um, but now, I mean, it's been 2 years, and I think I've been imagining this world for a couple of years before that. Um, it just I'm so invested in it now that I'd really like to flesh it all out and see where it goes. Maybe as a story again one day, but also as a full-on world. It's not easy. As I said, most of it existed in my head, and still does. I had a paragraph at best for a lot of my descriptions. Um, if I go back to say my gods, I literally have say Aidnat. That was my description for gods. Um, Kind of an idea of what it was, give it a little game functionality with the domain, um, and that was it. It was a neat idea. If it got explored in the game, I'd have to flesh it out more. But um, yeah, it's when I saw Unmade Gaming, um, sorry, When I saw Unmade Gaming do their session prep stream, I saw the huge descriptions he had for his gods and his cities, and I thought I was really underdoing it myself. So I've been semi-inspired. So, let's say Doran, its major city, uh, is Briabre. Um, it's a fishing city. Fishing, shipping, trading. Um, so I think it's reasonable to say that they had a decent navy, but it's also a relatively swampy land, so I don't think they'd have trained um, infantry troops all that much or used a lot of horses. Um, so I think it's safe to say they had a decent navy, but once they were broken, I had cities. Yeah, so Briarbrae exists on the edge of a big swamp. Um, Lots of mysteries in that swamp, of course. All right, Rhino, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the retweet. I will see you next time. Or see you when you're back. Hello, Amornar. Amornar. Just planning, fleshing out my custom world a little bit more. Which may not be terribly exciting. Um, a lot of it involves me just trying to think about what's going on. Um, well, let's just oh, there's a word for not expedition, campaign. And yeah, I should have had a name generator up. There we are. Great tool here, by the way, behind the name. It's at behindthename.com. That is a big name. I do not want to have to try to pronounce at any point. We can go with Manus Mahoney. Some of my early prototype maps had a name for the bay, and I don't think I have it now. No, I haven't named any bodies of water on these ones. That's a shame. Basically, here is where I had a name for, and I don't recall. So we're just going to leave that blank for now. Wow, I did not mean to do that. I don't like Doranish. Maybe Doreen? I don't know, what do you guys think? Any input whatsoever? The Isle of Doran, what are its people called? Awesome. Thanks, Sitar. I think I'll stick with that. Um, go back to my main map. This is Doran up here. Midden is the center of the United Lands. Basically, Peyton Foley took the island and then went eastward. Started to take other places. He got as far as Mora, um, and used diplomacy, marriage, to take this North Place, which I don't think I actually have named yet. Um, but Hagur was basically from Mora up. Um, so they're the Hagari people. Thank you. Um, I think the Doreen from the island. I think that'll work. I haven't really thought a whole lot about Patrick Quinn the First, because um, hey there, Groggy Noggin. Thanks for coming by. Um, where was I? I hadn't really thought a whole lot about Patrick Quinn the First because my campaign revolves around his son being in charge. Um, so the first stood beside this conquering king. Um, and there's a legend around the king. He was blessed by the Fae. As the story goes, with men at his back, he will never be defeated. Um, so people would rally around that, and he proved that true throughout his lifetime. He never saw defeat as long as he had men supporting him. Um, so Patrick Quinn, he was more just a name in my head. But who was he to King Foley? That he would stay behind and be granted the first lordship of his empire. Why would he give it to Patrick Quinn? Hmm. Maybe he was maybe he was an old friend. Maybe he was someone who had planned the invasion. Um, Maybe he would have been a good fit for the island because he was originally from the island. But I'm not really feeling any of these things. Maybe he had plans for the resources there. He'd be trusted. Maybe. Yeah, no, I think I like this. I maybe he's Peyton Foley didn't really need his navy after sailing away from the island. So maybe he was just the navy captain. Um, he could be put to best use in a place with a decent navy already, preparing for possible sea defense. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. So yeah, I guess we've got a proud people, not a lot of martial ability, uh, but they refuse to just bend the knee to this guy who claimed to be the king of all the lands. Um, they put up a fight, but not much of one, and kind of just rolled over when they were taken. Maybe not entirely. Um, there are some factions that still believe they should be independent, but just writing about the conquering of Doran in general, really don't think there's a whole lot more to say. I think I think another thing that may add loyalty to a people who've been conquered is if the new king marries a powerful woman from the local uh, stock, so to speak. But I think that's probably important. So let's wrong letter. Think trying to think of other people that may have been powerful on the island. Um, and it's sort of a central point by sea, anyway, um, between a few major cities, a few different nations, and there's a silver mine to the north of Briarbury. So I can assume that silver would be a good trade to travel by sea. Um, and the family who owns said mine at Glenna's Ridge is the Glens. So I think marrying into that family would do well to ingratiate himself to the people. And I think on the conquering, I think that's enough for now. that. Um, let's get it a little bit into the Lord, I think. Padric Quinn II is obviously son of Padric Quinn the First. He inherited the rule. He has a wife and two children. And he has never had to work for anything in his life and is perceived to be weak by his people. He's desperate to hold on to his power and fears an uprising. He's the sort of leader who was given everything his entire life. He married a woman from a nation to the south, which I've titled Evesium, but I kind of really don't like the name. So that may change. But Deidre is from there. He married her as kind of a political move. So he's kind of leaning towards undoing the alliance with the United Lands because Evesium has not been taken by the others. Excuse me, taken by them. So he's aligning himself with foreign powers, hoping they'll protect him. So the people, some of which are still proud and resist this foreign leadership, some of which are loyal to this crown and feel it's in their best interest to stay that way. They don't like that he is making these other political deals with new people because financial gain and things like that. So he's a get some notes going here. Padric Quinn II also, he's still advised by Dorel Tremaine, the druid, but he doesn't listen to his guidance like his father did. What else is there to say about Padric Quinn II? Well, what about achievements? He Hmm. What kind of traits do you see in a ruler who inherited everything from his father? Is afraid he's going to be the one to screw it up. He sees an aging king, foreign king. Um, he's looking for political um, foothold, so to speak, to try and climb higher. Like that paranoia. I think that could play into the secretive and suspicious aspect. Possibly also why he doesn't listen to the counsel of the druid. Hmm. I can see him also because his wife is from another nation where they would have different gods. Maybe installing some of her faith into the city or the country, um, and that would also help to alienate people. No, no, the slow to make decisions is just me. Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense because if he's afraid he's going to ruin his family's legacy, he wouldn't just rashly make decisions. He'd go over them from every angle. Maybe even to the point where he decides that inaction is often the best action. But then this also begs the question: if he's such a bad ruler and the people like him so little, what's keeping him in power? I mean, his hold is tenuous, so he has to have an edge. Also, he doesn't seem to be doing much to keep himself in the favor of this foreign king, so people wouldn't necessarily be afraid of retribution from him by deposing him. Hmm. That's interesting. I hadn't really thought about what keeps him in power. He's just, second born lord. That's the way it is. Yeah, I guess what we've established a lot of things he's doing wrong. What is he doing right? He's established trade, so I guess that would help powerful people in the city. The rich get richer, sort of thing. And I think even if the common folk don't care for you, as long as you're supported by the rich, as we've seen in society, uh, you can still run a nation. Not naming names. Oh, I like that, Anki. Um, kind of suggesting with his secretive and paranoid nature that uh, any who speak out against him tend to tend to have ill fortune. Let's change his to like that. Um, it's a little bit of fear, maybe keeping the people in line. Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. We've got a little bit of a Game of Thrones style character going on here. Um, like Peter Baelish almost. Well, that would insinuate too that he's clever. Yeah, I think these are all pretty good things. I don't think I'm going to do a big write up on him right away. Well, maybe. Yeah. How did Patrick Quinn the first die? I'm thinking just something mundane. Maybe not so mundane. Maybe even just disappeared. Um, which would leave a plot hook for the future. Maybe ghost of Patrick Quinn. Maybe figuring out what happened to him. Maybe he was even tied into the Blackwood in some way. Um, but leave a future plot hook for the disappearance of the original king. Rich people do have rich people hobbies. Um, on Doran, horses are a rich people hobby because they're not native to the island. So yeah, I can see like let's just throw out some hobbies here. Um, let's even go further with that. You come up with any more? Feel free to mention them, and I'll throw them up there. Yeah, see, I've kept I've kept Doran fairly low fantasy. The rest of the world is more a traditional fantasy setting, um, but there's a faction on Doran who's worked secretly behind the scenes pretty well since its history to eliminate and keep magic off the island. Um, Not that they've been successful entirely, but it's an entirely human population as far as the public knows. So if player characters want to play another race or using arcane magic specifically, um, they have to kind of do so discreetly or draw the attention of this faction. Um, they just see things, magical things, as evil, so they try to protect the people. Since it's an island, a lot of the people are just relatively unaware of magic in general. They believe in fairies and stuff, but nobody's really ever seen them and that sort of thing. Just to add a little more mystery to the magical element of the game, at least initially. As far as campaign goes, I have it started on the island of Doran for the first 5 or 6 levels. And then they move forward into the world as a whole. So there's the wonder of discovery of all of these things for people who are native to the island and that sort of thing. So I just don't think a flying steed would fit with the theme of Doran in general. I won't lie, I'm a huge George Martin fan. I really like at least early on in the books, the understated tone of the magic and stuff like that. It's there, but nobody ever sees it. Of course, as things progress, it gets bigger and bigger, but I kind of like the feel of that. That is not a word. If they have any war pursuits, perhaps he was to tour their latest warship and take a short cruise, but then something happens to that ship and it sinks. Bad omen from the gods. Freak storm or what? Hmm. I kind of like that. Yeah, he Patrick Quinn the First. I've got that he's been left in charge of a navy to protect the capital. Um, so I can see him, heading up the operations as far as shipbuilding and development. Being really proud of a new ship that they came up with, um, only to be lost at sea. I like that. After he, Just built for him. Maybe a gift. Again, that could it could be a future plot hook that this ship had been given to Patrick Quinn, perhaps by a rival. Um, Perhaps it was interference by the gods, by some creature. Um, Maybe no one really knows at this point. But you got to move on and install a new ruler. I'd kind of like to leave it a little bit open to allow for a future plot hook. Built for him. Grammar. I has it. There's always an opening with acts of God. You're right. Well, okay. What was I writing here? Burrell was instrumental to helping him learn his place as Lord. Goes pretty well, actually. Thanks for coming back. What did we do? Kind of gave a rough outline of the conquering of Doran, and now we're learning a little more about the character of Patrick Quinn II, the ruler of Doran currently. And viewers here have been great for helping me get past a couple of little blocks in my head. And I have to agree, adulting does suck. Yeah, yeah, it's really coming around. Rather than just this little paragraph. And Bach, Bach, what have we got? All right, Bach, Bach. Lots going on there. Grammar, I has it. Um, Still not sold on the name of this nation, but it is what it is for now. Um, I went with a. They're far to the south, um, not a part of the United Lands. Um, they're an empire of themselves, kind of thing. Eventually, there will be political and probably war clashing. Um, but they're kind of a Roman-based people's culture, so Evesium had a Roman-sounding name. That's why I went with it, I believe. Um, oh, I can't remember how I spelled her name. Draw. think I'm starting to lose momentum, so I may end this for today. But I think I've made a lot of progress in fleshing out some of what's going on here, and I really appreciate the help everyone offered here. Patrick Quinn went from being just the Lord whatever, and I feel like he's a lot more real right now. And will help shape further stories. God, I hope this saved. Didn't double check. Okay. That looks good. Yes. Alright. Well, thanks for coming by, everybody. Feel free to hit that follow button. Feel free to come back next time. I'm sure I'll be doing this again. I don't really know if I have any plans on running this game anytime soon, but I'm really enjoying fleshing out the world. So have a good day, everybody.